at the Institute for Provocation at the moment. This is an art space that I work every day. Now we are at this co-working space with 3 long tables and some other facilities. For example, library, and also a private studio. This wall has some thought map. We are working on the current project. So there's a front wall we are working towards. We normally organize some screenings here, so this space is also used for public events, so people are invited to come here, and then normally artists would give lectures and performance. We do some publications, as you just saw. So this space is located within the second ring road, which is very downtown of Beijing. Different from other art space, like a White Cube. So we located in a very residential area. So with our neighbors around every day. As you see, these grey houses, they belong to our neighbors. So a lot of people living there as well. Now we are working to the back sides. So there's a corridor here we have to walk through. Some daily object stuff our neighbor use. There are 2 neighbors living here. One is there and another one is here. So this is the back side of the studio as well. So you can look through the window and people know what we are doing, sort of like what we are doing every day. So we try to create this kind of open mind so people know what we are doing, but we are not very kind of engaged as a kind of socially engaged project. But if people are interested, they're welcome to check out. So this is the door to enter the main space. As you see, this building in the old time is for the master of this family, and on the east side and the west side there are 2 rooms for the master's relatives and his sons and daughters. So after 1949, the new Chinese government distributed this courtyard into different families. So now it's not belong to one family, but a lot of families. So at this moment, there are most retired people living here. Now we are stepping out back to this kind of communal space. It's pretty good looking from here.
Hu Wei is one of the directors of the Institute for Provocation, which hosts artist residencies and other art-related activities. It's based in Beijing in one of the traditional courtyard arrangements called a Hutong, and this one is in the Black Sesame Hutong. I got in contact with him through a friend and chatted on WeChat to exchange communication and allowing him to send me some images of the space so I could build a 3D reconstruction from it. Because the communication was a little bit limited and the time was very short, I had to pretty much do a lot of guesswork and sort of create a little bit of elements to fill in the gaps between what I could see, some of the elements of the architecture that I could see from images. So I had some images of inside the studio, had some shots from outside the back door, the courtyard gateway, and just a little peek into the courtyard through one of the images from outside the courtyard. So because of this, I had to pretty much just try and make a space which felt consistent. It felt like it actually could be a convincing space. But obviously I just went on what I had to try and rebuild it. The limited time meant that for a lot of the elements I could try and get an idea of what it looked like and felt like from the images, but a lot of it was sort of creating things that were fit for the general feel of the space. And this meant going onto Google image search and pulling off images that were similar in feel to what I could see from the reference images, but that I didn't know what was actually there. So I'd place in this section something different. I didn't know what was in these sort of interstitial spaces. So I just did my best guess and pulled things, reference images from online to try and fill in the gaps. A bunch of the things were taken from the reference images, and Huey did a few things, including taking a bunch of photos of the dragons that you can see in front of you, so that I could build a 3D model of these sculptural elements. He also took some audio that I used to build a soundscape in the space. So you can hear in the reconstruction there's different background environmental sounds that really help to give it a sense of being a real space. You can hear traffic in the background and birds and cats meowing and things like that. A little bit of building work when you're inside the studio. A lot of this stuff I just had to go and try and find ready-made assets. So the rooftops are pretty much pulled from, sort of similar generic Chinese architectural features that I threw into the model and then filled in the gaps with the reference images that I had. And Huey was kind enough not to point out when he looked at the video how different my reconstruction was to the final space, to the actual space. So really there's a very big difference between my version of the space and the actual space that he experiences.